So it's been some time since I last uploaded a Honkai video, but I did want to talk about LUOCHA. He's now the banner that is coming out in like 6-ish days, so be prepared for that. Server will be leaving, so make your decision. But today, I thought I'd give you a quick little review of things you should know before going in. And again, with everything, just pull for who you want. At the end of the day, if you want LUOCHA, just go for LUOCHA. No one's going to stop you, but I'm going to give you some pros and cons. Simple as that. Let's jump into it. Let's talk about it. Let's make this quick. Also, consider liking and subscribing. Helps out a ton. So we're going to play the trailer here we got recently, so you have something in the background to watch while I just go and break down some simple things to know about LUOCHA. You've probably already seen this kit. We've already kind of broken that down, so I'll pause that for a second, but he's an imaginary character. Simple thing over here. He does have a lot of decent healing. His skill will cause heals to occur, which is true. Just keep that in mind. But again, he also has a passive sort of heal, which we'll describe in a second here. He removes one buff, again, which is also a huge part of his kit. If you look over here for his talent, when the Abyss Valor reaches 2 stacks, it will create a field around the enemy, and if anybody attacks that, it'll restore 12% of LUOCHA's attack, or HP equal to 12% of LUOCHA's attack, plus 60, again, depending on the level of it. Keep that in mind. That will scale. The field effects last for 2 turns. When LUOCHA is knocked down, the field is dispelled. After using his technique, LUOCHA immediately heals an ally with the lowest current HP percentage equal to 50% of LUOCHA's max HP. So, he has a lot of stuff in here that makes his kit very powerful and very viable, correct? So, for a healer character, he is very strong, and in a game right now where we don't have that many healer characters, it may be good to guarantee one while you can. Thing is, yes, you might have some trouble with what you have with MOC, but it depends, right? If you have Gepard or other characters that you can kind of formulate teams with, maybe you don't need, per se, what, LUOCHA brings to the table. But I do think for a character and for viability and for a lot of things, he will be very powerful and he will be there for longevity. And if you are pulling for a character in the future, like Blade or even characters further down the line, which we know about, though I can't mention, I repeated that twice, comments, you know what to do. Yes, there's another character that will appear that can definitely get real good benefits from what LUOCHA brings, because first, he has very strong heals. Second, he is very efficient on skill points, and when I say very efficient, I genuinely mean it. He first has the Abyss Flower area. He also has the fact that he will heal you if you drop below 50. He has a lot of stuff in his kit that will make him very skill point efficient and be very good for a lot of team comps. And again, for people that are currently lacking in the imaginary category, you have something to look forward to. And again, there's a lot more characters than just the 2 that I mentioned in the future that will release and that he can actually very much help. Similar to Silverwolf, that's why this update was very much wonky. You had 2 very good and 2 characters that will carry longevity and be very good for future content and be future proved in the way that they will work on a lot of sets of teams, like a lot of them, correct? So all of these aspects of it definitely pull into the fact that he is a very strong character and he is kind of worth it, yeah? Again, it's not really a must pull. Really, we haven't seen a must pull. You could say whatever character is a must pull. You could say Silverwolf is, for the amount of flexibility the character brings to the table and the amount of help she can provide to your team and how much she can kind of activate units you may not have been using or activates the team perfectly in the fact of what you're running, right? She has been designed in a way that she helps in so much different things, and then with the recent buffs / nerfs to other contents and stuff like that, she's become a very good character. So considering anything, any character can be a must pull in the way you use them, but I would say that LUOCHA is strong and very good. It's not that I need this character in order to succeed, but I mean, for what he is, and if you are pulling for him, you're making a pretty solid decision. Yes, heals. Yes, he also does scale off attack, which I did not get to mention, but he does that too. So you can build him as some sort of sub DPS in a way. And then again, with his heals and everything also existing, I mean, he will be a kind of very well-rounded character. And it's kind of a mute point, if you will. If you are pulling for Blade and you are pulling for, again, I'm not going to pronounce the name, or I don't want to like say anything wrong here because, it's a lead character, but there is a character in the future also. If you are pulling for that said character, then what happens is LUOCHA buffs them, and LUOCHA is very strong because he has passive healing, and they literally are more so bleed units, right? They're going to be continuously bleeding HP because the lower the HP is, the more damage they do or whatever. So they will continuously kind of bleed out HP, and he will continuously heal that up because, again, his passive heals and all of that. And then again, a character that can remove, those buffs, he does a lot, correct? For what he is, this character does a lot, and he works in a lot of different content, so you have to understand, for what you're pulling for, again, it's a character that will help you through everything. It's a character that will hold your hand and take care of you and help you progress through a lot of the game. But again, per se, never push a character as a must pull. because really it just depends. Yeah, Silverwolf was very good also. More so I pulled for Silverwolf because I saw as day one roll around that she works and she is very good. And then as more time kind of progressed and more people got to build the character, they understand that, yeah, she is really strong. So I was able to at least do that and put my Jades into the banner and enjoy with her. But again, for LUOCHA, definitely you can put like a multi or two in if you're not at guaranteed pity and you don't care for him, and just see how it goes. He is a good character to have on your account, and again, he will be, pretty good if you are pulling for future stuff. Again, I keep mentioning that and going back to it, but for what he is, for MOC, for other contents, I think that you are pulling for, again, a very viable character. And also, yes, on the 4-star roster of things, it's not that bad. You have Pella over there. You do have the character that I still suck at pronouncing, and I still try my best, but I can't say the word for some reason. And then you have Yukong over there on the right. So overall, it is a pretty decent-looking 4-star roster. And the Eidolons for these characters are pretty worth it to dive into. So it depends on if you're pulling for that reason alone. But I would say that the banner is pretty good. I did like my my beautiful Silverwolf summons. I pulled hella copies of Dan, and I'm having a blast because I was hoping to do that, and it worked. So for me, that was super worth it, and more worthwhile just because I really wanted to level him up and get his Eidolons, and he kind of good. All right. So at the end of the day, also you do have 3 good characters here that potentially pulling Eidolons for it might be really worth it. So on the 4-star roster, you have something to look forward to there too. But if you are mainly just looking at LUOCHA and what he has to do and what he can bring to the table, you are looking in for something good. Okay. He has a lot of synergy. He has a lot of team comps that he can help, and he also, just like Silverwolf, can be just very flexible and thrown onto many teams in order to make something that is kind of indestructible, whatever. Undestructible, that's crazy. Indestructible, and can really work in MOC or whatever you need him to work for, correct? Again, you're aiming mainly for one content. That's what mainly people are looking at. That's like the end game content or the content you need to complete in some sort of capacity. So for what he does, he's again not needed. You have other characters that can fit the role, that can do the damage, that can buff, that can give you survivability, that can heal. Those are the case. Yes, it is. But for what he brings, he is worth it. But again, he isn't a must pull. I need this character. I'm going to suffer. I'm going to fail the game and everything's going to go wrong. But he might be good for free-to-play players to look into, as if I don't have a healer. I kind of don't have Japard. I have no survivability. Maybe, looking at a character like this is good. And maybe down the line, I look at characters like Blade or other bleed characters that damage themselves in order to do damage. And maybe I consider, yeah, I like that. I like that sort of build. I like that sort of character. Maybe I do invest in him, and maybe I have a character who's skill efficient, does all of this, has passive healing, has really solid stacks and everything, a sub DPS at that. Maybe that's why I do it. But it depends. Fully depends, right? But then again, after this is Kafka, and after that is going to be Blade, both very strong DPS characters, which again, you might consider maybe I can just go for a full DPS like that, and I'm currently lacking on a DPS. Let's say I have Bailu or Japard or someone like that, and I can already have that sort of survivability / heals in MOC, then maybe I don't need what he has to bring to the table, so I go for a character like Kafka, or I go for a character like Blade, full on DPS and stuff like that. Yes, LUOCHA plus Blade equals a really good team comp, but it doesn't mean that I can't run Bailu or some other healer and kind of fill that role, which again, it still is a viable option. But yes, at the end of the day, you have Kafka, you do have Blade. If those are characters you care for more, go for them. Again, if you are pulling for Blade, it might be recommended to check out LUOCHA if you don't have a healer, because you kind of want one that is really skill point efficient, and that will be what LUOCHA is. Though again, if you have Bailu or if you want to run Natasha, go for it, be my guest. But again, that is worth mentioning too. Beyond that, we don't know what's happening after 1.2, so we don't want to put any speculation down. Leaks are there. You're more than welcome to check them out. I'm not going to go and share any because I don't want to get jumped on. Yes, but at the end of the day, those are the things that I really wanted to mention with LUOCHA and bring to the table because he is a very strong character. And again, people are saying that he is a must-have for MOC. I wouldn't say must-have. There are other characters that can fit the role and can help you. Japard, Bailu, and Natasha. There's other characters, 100%. But for what it is, and it will make your life easier. If you don't have a healer in the game, at least getting one that is an SSR, or again, not an SSR, but a 5-star, and one that is very, very good, maybe it's worth it. But again, it is fully up to you. Those are the things that I did want to mention. That's really it. So I'll catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, peace, and enjoy. That's been it for me. Quick little video here and a quick little discussion about LUOCHA and some things that I kind of wanted you to know before going into the banner.